we don't have a lot of time, but we do want to touch for our discussion section on VR treadmills specifically, not just Omniverse, but what is the experience like to have a VR treadmill? How much better is it to be able to just run and just keep running and you won't hit a wall because you're wearing a Quest? You can just keep running and you does it track your feet typically? Like if you look down and move your foot, does it move with you? Is that typically the case?
Yeah, so the way that it works specifically in because there's a couple of different companies that are doing VR treadmills right now. So
Right.
the one with Virtuex is there are actually little we refer to them as pucks. They're little trackers that clip onto either the shoes that you wear over your shoes, kind of a strap on with Velcro and buckles and everything, or you can actually put on, a shoe size to your foot. But the trackers clip on, and then using the lighthouses for the HTC Vive, what it does is it tracks those in addition to tracking the headset and the controllers. So when you step forward, right, it simulates you moving forward. And so the faster those two pucks pass each other, the faster you move in game. And the way that it's set up is you're strapped in at the waist and you've basically got a ring going around you, okay? So you're strapped in, and when you lean forward, it senses that you're leaning forward, and that combined with the running propels your character, your avatar in game forward. So
Hmm. And how seamless is this? Is it like are you playing the whole time and going, I don't know if the technology's really here yet, but this is a lot of fun, or is it like this is the the best thing since uh I don't know, I couldn't think of anything cool to say.
Best thing since
so
VR.
Yeah.
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 So it's when it works with any kind of technology and with anybody who's used, the HTC or anything else that's got, mounted tracking, that sometimes it loses connection. And that can happen. It doesn't happen a lot, though, is what I'll say. Um, More often than not, if I'm going to lose tracking, it's going to be on a controller, not on one of these foot pucks. So when it works really, really well.
Mhm.
I
It's
hear a big
obviously
butt coming.
well, there's obviously a speed cap to keep it fair for everybody playing. So, and you can
Mm.
kind of trick the system, and you can shuffle your feet to simulate the pucks moving past each other faster and things like that. But
Oh, I hadn't
in
thought of that.
terms of yeah, in terms of what, and see, I'm giving away all our secrets now. So, uh, go to our YouTube channel; it's all on there.
I picture you and your group of guys playing competitively and you're just doing little shuffles.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what it looks like. That is
Oh,
hundred
that's
percent what it
great.
looks like. So yeah, it in terms of what it adds to the experience, it's beyond compare. It completely changes the competitive experience because instead of pressing a button on the controller or teleporting to jump, or Jay and I were speaking earlier about V rocker, and you have to kind of get in your horse stance and bounce up and down or lean left and right, shuffle your shoulders to move. Um, you just go. You lean forward and you run, and your character runs, and you're running and shooting at the same time. It's amazing.
You see,
It's
that's so
it's
surprising for me because they're kind of goofy looking, in my opinion. You
they
strapping
are
yourself
goofy
into
looking.
this halo, into this giant, hula hoop around you. Does it restrict your movement? Do you find that you can't maybe move as easily as you could in a traditional VR setup?
So, I mean, obviously, it's going to restrict your movement a little compared to running naturally, right? But in terms of a traditional VR setup, if I had the option to play competitively against a bunch of people that were, playing with and without, kind of dispersed between the group, 12 on 12, I would 100% use an infinity treadmill to compete, because it's one less thing that my brain has to translate into a different motion. I don't have to think about where is my thumb on the controller, where am I moving. I don't have to do that calculation on how is this movement going to translate into the game. It's I turn my hips and I start running that direction and I go that direction. It's one more natural thing getting you closer to immersion within VR.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, a couple questions here. I've followed these a lot of treadmills from the start, so I'm really interested in the technology. There are a lot of them are all called Infinity treadmills, but there's nothing actually treadmill about the Omni. You're standing in a smooth bowl with frictionless shoes, and just the shoes are being tracked. There's nothing. The bowl's not tracking the movement or anything. It's just those trackers on the shoes, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Infinity treadmill is just the term that's kind of been used industry wide right now to define what these are. But it's generally a semi curved basin, and you wear some type of foot gear that's got a very slick base, on the bottom of it. And it's not, a lot of people may be picturing Ready Player One right now, where he jumps on and he starts running and then he turns left and runs and it turns with him. No, that's not what's happening. It's a very polished, very smooth basin. And yeah, it has to be semi curved, because otherwise you'd put your feet down and you'd immediately slip and you'd fall forward. So the semi curved nature of it kind of keeps you upright when you're running. And Adam, what you were saying earlier in terms of, does it kind of restrict you? It's like being hugged right around the abdomen. The ring, yeah, the ring that's not super descriptive, but the ring that's around the outside and what's actually being strapped to you never touch except for two contact points on the side. So you have freedom of movement in every direction, left, right, forward, backward, up, down, to an extent within about 6, 7, 8 inches before you kind of hit that moment where it says, okay, I'm now tracking. You're going to move forward. You're going to move back. You're kind of shifting to the right. So you've got a little bit of a play in it as it goes. So yeah, you don't feel like you're locked in one spot and you're kind of running and you're being held stationary. It's, you still lean forward to run like you would in real life. So it feels very, very natural. They did a really great job with it.
Okay, and this is the biggest question I have with any of these Infinity treadmills. Can you crouch in them?
So in the one that I use, you can't. It doesn't at least translate into in-game. I know that there are Infinity treadmills that are out there that are being produced right now. I don't know if any are, commercially available for purchase, but there are ones out there that take a different approach. Instead of placing a ring around you, what they do is they have you wear a vest that's attached to a cable and it attaches above your head, and that will help simulate, crouching and everything like that. So there are ones out there that are coming out or that have come out that allow you to do that and translate that kind of motion into game, jumping, crouching, everything like that.
Okay.
None of them
so
are. Yeah, none of them are quite out yet. The Catwalk C we covered on the podcast is funded through Kickstarter, and it's one of the first ones that's going to have that option. The one he talked about from Ready Player One is called the Infinideck. If you want to Google it, it is real. It's not in production, but it is a real design and prototype. It's really interesting. I want to try one of these. I want to come to Texas the minute COVID is over and try one of these because I've never gotten the chance. I want to try every single kind that's out there, but I know that they're not available everywhere. If you had the chance, would you go try another one, or are you like an Omni addict now? Are you kind of stuck to this brand?
No, I'm sold to the concept of it. I think that Virtuex and the Omniverse have done a really great job with it. You mentioned Kickstarter earlier. Virtuex actually started and funded the Omniverse treadmill on Kickstarter. And they just released about a month ago a YouTube ad. They're coming out with what they're calling the Virtuex Odyssey, or the Omniverse Odyssey, and that will be this platform available for home purchase. And the way that they're marketing it is as a exercise fitness device. So imagine being able to go play Skyrim in VR and run around, Tamriel. Imagine being able to go play Fallout 4 and run around, everything like that. You're going to get a ton more exercise playing those games. And it's being able to do that. It's kind of like going back and playing a game that you've played in VR, like Superhot, and then trying to play it in 2D again. You're like, I'll just play. I'll go play something else until I can get it working again. So,
Right.
I know we need to wrap this up, but one thing, maybe for the people who haven't watched us on YouTube, come watch us on YouTube. We've started live streaming some of the podcasts. Maybe we can stay on and get some questions from the stream. I think that'd be really cool. I just had one other random question. How do you guys get does the cable kink up above you? Because you're turning like crazy to play the game. Do you guys use an app to like manage that, or does the cable kink up?
So the cable is suspended up above you. I've never had an issue with it kinking up, with it wrapping around itself. Whatever they're using to kind of suspend the cable up there, and I haven't really particularly looked straight up to see how it's suspended up there. But no, I've never run into an issue with it kinking up. So whatever they're doing is working really, really well. Um, yeah. So
Okay, one last thing before we go. If someone wants to buy an Omni treadmill or similar for themselves for home purpose, these things are like typically $1,000. So we're gonna go with that. Is that worth it? Do you think $1,000 is worth owning your own VR treadmill?
I think that heavily depends on what games are available for it. I think if it's exclusive to whatever company and they're coming out with their own products, $1,000 is, I would not invest for it at $1,000. I would wait until something becomes more available. Now, I can tell you that if somebody releases a VR treadmill and it gets phenomenal reviews and you can play Skyrim and you can go play all these games, they say your entire VR Steam library good to go, I'm going to go buy one tomorrow. I will find the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is good to know, because I'll admit I've heard otherwise by some people who've bought one, but I guess the difference it would be that you can play all of your games. It's for the most part fairly seamless, and kind of like how the controls for like right now, like a lot of games have like you can sort of map each of the controllers fairly similarly as the design for VR controllers gets a little bit more standardized. I think once VR treadmills kind of get there to where games kind of expect that people will be like a decent player base will be using treadmills, then we'll be seeing some really cool stuff and probably some more purchases. Maybe the price will go down. Who knows?
One can only hope.
One can only hope. Natalie also wanted to know, has Nexiana ever tried other VR treadmills?
So, no, I have not had the opportunity to try any other VR treadmills. I would love to. There's a company out in California called Sandbox VR, and they have a open platform, kind of open arena VR setup going on. And I believe that they have some VR treadmills out there as well. And if I ever get the opportunity, I'd love to go out there and work with them. But no, as of right now, I haven't had a chance to try anybody else. But I'm not a fanboy by any stretch as far as Virtuex goes. But they have done a very, very good job with their product design. So
Cool.
Jordan,
All right.
just before the final, if people are interested in this, if they want to find you, we said you're on Instagram. Where
Yes.
else? What are your platforms? What do you do? Where can people find out stuff about you or come talk to you if they want to find you?
so I'm I'm a little bit older than a lot of people. I recently made the jump to Instagram, so I'm a little behind the times. But you can find me on Instagram at commander_Nexion. That's CMDR_NEXION. And then you can find our team at OVERCAST VR team on Instagram as well.
Nice. We'll make
All
sure
right.
those are linked.
Oh, wait a second. I could have sworn I put. I'm trying to find the outro I did for the previous podcast. Oh, okay, there it is. Cool. All right. So, Jordan, where can these people find you? Show notes. You can find them in. Sorry. This is. I realize now that sounds like I'm asking you. I'm trying to coordinate my own thoughts here. So if you want to find him, check out the show notes. Check out the YouTube descriptions. This guy is in Discord. If you want to ask him some questions there, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer them there. Really cool stuff that these guys are doing. Go check them out. A little bit about ourselves before we go, because we have our own things. We have the Discord server. If you are interested in participating in the Q&A, if you want to ask us questions during the live stream that we can touch on, I'm scanning the chat the entire time until we get enough followers that I can't. I kind of enjoy the like middle level of popularity where you can still keep up with the chat. Like obviously I want more people, but I'm gonna enjoy this while I still can. So come check us out on Discord. If you want some neat Discord roles, early access to stereo versions of the podcast, trust me, the intro and outro songs sound fantastic in stereo. If you want some really cool stuff, go join our Patreon for $5 a month. And again, if you are listening, consider watching the YouTube channel. If you're on the YouTube channel and you're like, this was cool, but maybe I just want to listen to it on the car drive next time, we are literally everywhere. We're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on iTunes, we are on every podcast platform. I've worked really hard to make it that way. Go check us out. And that is all. Thank you for watching, guys, and we will see you on the next podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you next week.